Real 92.3, LA's new home for hip-hop, is standing up to racism and racial injustice in the Black and brown community. Big Boy's neighborhood. First off, man, just the way that we do it, we do these interviews now, man. It's crazy because this is my first time having Jack Harlow in the neighborhood. And this is going to be our introduction. So when we come together, bro, we're going to always have one of those, hey, man, remember our first interview? We remember this.
We had to do it remotely. Yeah, we're going to reminisce on these. We're going to reminisce on these times.
As we should, man. Welcome to the neighborhood, bro. First off, how you holding up during this whole pandemic thing, bro?
I'm doing the best I can. God's decided to give me a couple blessings to stay afloat, so I have no complaints. But I can't wait to see the end of this.
Yeah, man. Tell me about it, man. Whatever that end may be, man. What do you miss the most, man? Is it the stage? Is it people? Is it a movie theater?
I think it is touring. I mean, I think that's what a lot of artists miss, but the last tour I went on before everything really took off for me, we were still selling out great shows. And, I had built a fan base, so I was enjoying shows. But not only that, when I would go to other cities, I would explore. I would try the foods. We spend a few hours before sound check getting on the motorized scooters and just seeing a city we'd never seen as a group of 10. Man. And that's the biggest blessing of it all. So I definitely miss touring. I miss intimacy. I miss a lot of things.
Yeah, man. But like we said, Jack, we'll definitely be back, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just that it seemed like God put the whole planet on a shutdown right now. You also had to do what my man Cruz would call isolation celebration. You celebrated your birthday as well.
What's funny is I that was my birthday was the last day of normal life.
Yeah.
So I had a birthday party where everyone wore masks and nobody got infected from it, but it was the last hurrah. So my last memory of being in a club, feeling that feeling was my birthday, and my EP came out the same day. So it's been a while.
Man, yeah, but like we said, bro, we definitely get back, man. And the success of what's going on with you right now, bro, it's crazy because we get a chance to really see Jack Harlow. You know what I'm saying? We get a chance to experience you. We get a chance of your calm side, your wild side, you know what I'm saying? But also we get a chance to see you grow. But it's crazy when we start to jump on Jack Harlow, and that's when everybody, whatever brought us to you, that's what brought us to you as an introduction. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it's always been kind of with you since an early age. This isn't where you said, okay, Spotify is here, I'm just gonna jump in the game. When did you first fall in love with hip hop?
I was probably 11 or 12. My mom had an extensive CD collection sitting around the house, and she grew up going to concerts and listening to hip hop. So my mom was a big reason for it. But also, I was born into the era that hip hop was kind of the most popular genre already. They say that officially happened like last year or the year before, but really 10 years ago when I'm in middle school, like that's all kids want to listen to. Like that was the flyest shit out. And so for me, that was the flyest way to express myself. I just thought it was tight. And when I would listen to it, I would be like, ooh, I feel confident in myself. So I was like, I want to make something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Jack Harlow. How do you go from moms having CDs, you ear hustling, then you start to fall in love with it to when you actually say, this is something that I can do?
Sheesh. I mean, I was always like a class clown. I've always been like an attention whore. So I've always needed to express myself, be in front of people. So I was going to find a way to do that. I like to express and be understood. So that was, like I said, the flyest way. And my dad has a real way with words, and I grew up reading. And so words were something for me I was just interested in. I love speaking. I love expression. So like I said, the rhythm of hip hop is what brought me in. Just that groove. That groove was attractive to me. So when you put my interest in words together with that, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is fly.
Now, what do your mom or what do your parents say now that, it seemed like it was a genius plan? What do they say now versus what they said back then?
My mom was so into hip hop that I think she always thought it was cool that I wanted to do that. But I think for the first few years, of course, they wanted me to get an education. they saw it as a hobby. But now, you know, once you start making a living, there's really nothing left to say.
Yeah,
so,
hell yeah.
Everything's good now.
Did your mom or dad have artists like visions as well? You know, because you'll talk to people, they'll be like, yeah, my dad, you know, he wanted to be a rapper. Then you see the kids just surpass everything that they did. Did they have any dreams or aspirations to be an artist?
My mom was a visual artist, a painter.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's dope.
There was some creativity in the family, but my dad's very blue collar. My dad was, you know, he grew up manual labor, so he's a little more hard nosed, and my mom is eclectic, so it's quite a blend.
Hey man, what do they say about either your music or your lifestyle or how open you are when it comes to any kind of topic? You know what I'm saying? Have they watched like the Genius shit where, you know, you talking about getting domed out and your penis getting stuck in somebody, you know, in throats and all that, you know, have they seen that?
Yeah, I got a text from my dad after that came out. My dad said, you know, when interviewers, when they ask you about sexual topics, just pass on it. I'd rather you just pass on it. And I said, listen, I understand that, but, you know, that interview is giving me a boost more than anything. So I think sometimes for them, they think I'm putting my foot in my mouth because I've been doing that since I was a kid. I've always said wild shit because I'm silly. But, you know, they know that's me. That's me.
Hey man, so now that there is this road to success, bro, and you see that things are really starting to take off and you see that things are moving, bro. And like you say, you know, when you talked about being on tour and checking out the cities and eating, being with your people, that means that you really living your dream. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at from first being the fan of certain people to now being the peer of certain people, Jack Harlow, does that trip you out if we're thinking about like even the What's Poppin' remix? You know what I'm saying? If you just had one, that's one and done. You know what I'm saying? You get Lil Wayne, you straight. You get Tory Lanez, you straight. You get the baby, you straight. You know what I'm saying? You get all three of them, bro. You straight and narrow. So being that you had people that, you know, you kind of say, man, I'm a fan first, and now you guys are peers. What does that feel like?
Man, it feels like them lines. It's crazy when your idols become your rivals because you do have a moment there's a surreal moment. I remember when we shot the video and I was next to Wayne, I could have teared up. There was a moment but after that, after you get those moments, it's crazy. And I know as a man that has succeeded, things become normal very quickly. You know what I'm saying? It's special and you can take moments to look, but It's not like you're not living in a fantasy land of things just get normalized somehow. Somehow you just live in this life. So the people that I was excited to work with a year ago, I've graduated to now I want to work with it. You know, you just grow. So it's crazy. I'm just hungry. I'm competitive. I mean, I want to be one of the greatest, bro. Like I don't look at this as a check or a popularity contest. I'm obsessed with the craft. I want to be on the Rushmore. You know what I mean? Yeah. I really want to go there. So I'm very competitive.
And you know what I enjoy about you too, man, is that you could tell that you're a child of hip hop, and you could tell that you but when it comes to your craft, you know what to do when it comes to either if you're writing or if you're typing it or whatever it may be, man. Like,
thank you.
And it's really your skill set. So, but also, man, you know, people do try to put certain people in boxes. How did you manage to stay out of the box? You know what I'm saying? And it could have been any box that someone could have put you in.
You know, something I always think about, I've always watched like the progression of artists' careers, and I look at how artists at certain points were hated on or considered corny, and then they evolve out of that space naturally. And sometimes it takes a couple of years, but I have aged in a way where I remember when in my city, when I was in high school and I was trying to rap, it was not cool to fuck with me. It was not trendy. I had some people that recognized my talent, but it wasn't the wave to be like, oh yeah, we all like this kid. Things have changed a lot, and I know they can change more. I mean, I look at some of the greats right now. When they first came out, it was very easy to hate on them. But you can determine the narrative just by killing shit. You know, people don't actually get to determine that. I remember when, rest in peace to the legend, Mac Miller came out. I remember when he first came out, he was put in a fratty box. A lot of people didn't like him. And what he did was he took his music and he elevated, and he got into a space where he's respected throughout the culture. And by the time he's passed, he's revered. But I remember there was a time where everyone was hating on him. So any moment people hate on me, I say, it is what it is. In a few years, I guarantee I'm gonna turn all the skeptics to believers. I guarantee.
Yeah, and you starting to see that. You've been seeing that now when you talk about even with high school. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I've turned those people around, and not that that's the mission. The mission is for you to be the best that you can do. And if they turn around or if they come to the table, it's like, okay, you see what I was doing. I wasn't out here trying to beg you to come in, but you just see. And the one thing, bro, that I really enjoy about you too, Jack, is talent surpasses all the other stuff. There's you could be a shot in the dark, you know what I'm saying, or you could be the light bulb that keep the room lit up for a long ass time. And we see a lot of people, man, that come in and, you know, if you one and done or if you the gimmick, okay, that's fine. But it looked like you here for also not just the craft, but for the longevity of it. You know what I'm saying? Because you see people, Jack Harlow, that come in, man, they talk about pissing on their plaques. Then they tell you, oh, I only been rapping for 10 months and I'm just trying to get the check. And I've been around hip hop long enough to see when people really, really respect the game. And when you start to see that you have a real artist that's in front of you. You know what I'm saying? But that's in the bone marrow, bro. You can't teach that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I appreciate it. No, I'm very focused. I have a very playful side and I have a very serious side, and I'm very serious about this.
But that's who we are as human beings too, man. You know what I'm saying? We, you know, at one point, you know, we laugh and the next moment we could be crying. And I think that's also kind of what we get out of not just your music, but you as a person. You know what I'm saying? Because there's sometimes when you can get like, oh, okay, I feel him on that. And then there's other times where I'm like, man, this motherfucker wild. You know what I'm saying? But you got to think you 22, bro, and you've been given where you earned the opportunity to play with the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy, bro. Like 22, how do you get yourself, like, are you a relationship guy or are you a backstage pass guy?
Well, thus far I've been a backstage pass guy, but I would have no problem graduating to being a relationship guy when the time's right. But I just ain't fell in love yet. I've never been in love.
Yeah, and especially right now, man, we don't know how long this pandemic is gonna go down, and so there's a lot of like life and world and tour catching up that you got to do. And I'm not telling you to get out there and act crazy, but there's some of us, which I love the position I'm in, Jack Harlow. I love married and kids and everything, but also we gotta live through you too. You know what I'm saying? Don't come over here yet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Do what you gotta do. And I'm not saying slay them all, but you know, record sales, get your numbers up. You know what I'm saying? Tour passes, get your numbers up. You know, have a little fun, because it'll be a different set of life fun when you get to a certain age. So go out. What was the last venereal or STD you caught?
Sheesh, cut this one off.
Yeah. What was that one?
Zero. I'm clean.
See, you haven't even got that yet. So you got to think, bro. It ain't nothing like getting your dick burnt from being in Paris, France. You know what I'm saying? So,
wow. Yeah. Wow.
Whoa. You got so much living ahead of you, man. You got so much living ahead of you.
I might have to skip that level.
You know what? That was a test. I was just testing you. Yeah. Don't listen to me on that, man. If you know, we've been hearing a lot now, Jack Harlow, about entanglement. You know, we seen Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith and you know, August Alsina get into an entanglement. If you could jump into an entanglement with anyone that's famous, who would you be entangled with?
J-Lo and A-Rod.
Damn. Yeah, bro.
Both beautiful people.
I heard that. Yeah, bro. Hey, man, why am I sitting here thinking how much I would be like, yeah, that's a good one. He said both beautiful people as well, man. When hip-hop is one of those things, man, where people take it as their own, it's so serious and, you know, we love it. And it used to just be, if you had the Source magazine, people wanted 5 mics. If you had a critic, there was critics that wrote about what you do. Now we're in a point, Jack Harlow, where everything is social media and it gets right into your face. You know what I'm saying? How do you deal with the critics that you see on social media, if you deal with it at all?
Well, I was on a really good streak of, I'm talking about months, without searching my name on Twitter. Mm-hmm. You know, once you have enough people talking about you, you can search your name and immediately find out what the community thinks of you. So I was doing a good job of not looking. And then I got caught in a couple streaks of looking, going to see what they're saying. And I almost always regret it. But what's funny is a lot of my best raps have come from reading something that just hit me in the soul. And that's what fuels you, is you're talking about that person, but you know, so a lot of my unreleased stuff has been from seeing critics. They've been writing think pieces about me, hateful ones. They've been writing articles about me now. So I'm in the game, and you know, they have some negative things to say. So that's how I write my raps. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy about that, man, is people say, oh, well, that's what we signed up. That's what they signed up for. That's what they signed up for. And I don't think you really sign up for people to actually pick you apart. Even there's some people, man, it seems like that's what they feed off of. And not that you're in a position where they wish they could have what you have and live the dream that you live in and the things that you work for. But to see something like that, man, it's like damn, bro. Like at one point you just trying to get on, you're trying to get in. And a man once told me years ago, Jack Harlow, he said, the bigger you are, the bigger the target. Are you starting to see those kind of things now?
Well, that, and it's like we were talking about earlier, everything ages well. Everything ages well. You know, like even that interview or anything that people come down on me about, you know, people in my city will be like, oh, how you gonna represent the city this way with just like little comments I'm making? It always ages well. I mean, think about all the icons. They had scandals about them. You know what I mean? They had people questioning them. I mean, I was listening to Return of the G by Outkast the other day, and it's just Andre addressing what everybody's saying. He said, is he gay? Is he this? Is he that?
Yeah.
You know, he's talking about that. And look at him. He's an icon. Nobody can say nothing about Andre. So me, you know, early on, I think it got to me a little. I'm like, damn, I want them to like me. I want them to adore me. Now it's starting to, and I'm being genuine when I say that. It's brushing off of me because I'm realizing that's really what it takes. There's not a legend out here that didn't catch that criticism.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And there's not a legend out there, bro. Not just the criticism where, you know, at some point, do you believe it? At some point, you know, do you really want what you were dreaming about? You know what I'm saying? You start to question like, damn, like, man, because by human nature, even in my radio career, man, I've always wanted people to like me. I couldn't imagine starting off in radio, and if we had Instagram and Twitter and the things that could have came at me, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all built with even different skin right now, bro, because I don't know if you know my story as well, man, but Jack Harlow, you know, I weighed over 500 pounds. I couldn't imagine weighing 500 pounds and having this device now, and people could just put some of the most craziest shit on your screen. You know what I'm saying?
That's all they would talk about.
Yeah, man, and sometimes, man, it excludes talent. It excludes everything. You know what I'm saying? So I love that you know how to take that fuel and put that in the tank and continue to move forward, as opposed to letting that shit just kind of like stall you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Thank you. It's a huge thing because I know there's more coming, and it's only gonna get worse.
Hey, man, being from Louisville, Kentucky, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we see Bryson got on. I'm pretty sure that you know a lot of other people that's you know doing what you were doing at home as well, man. But we don't get a lot of people where we say, oh man, that person is from Louisville. How did you break out of that clutter to make the world recognize you?
Well, you know, it's so funny. The internet age has made it possible to break from anywhere. You know, you can be from Wyoming, Idaho, anywhere right now. And if you give out some kind of content that people feel like this is real, this is authentic, then you have a shot. You know what I mean? So I always took being from Louisville. When I was listening to rap growing up and people would be from different places, I'd be like, that's so hard how they rap their city. Like, to me, I thought it was so hard. So the main thing I wanted to do was put Louisville on. And it's benefited me more than anything because it's become like one of my things. It's become the thing that people know about me. So when people think of the city, they think of me.
How did you feel, man, when you look at the whole Breonna Taylor thing as well, man, and that just being home plate. Does that hit different? Do you go home for a minute and soak up the city? Like, what does Jack Harlow do when we living in times like this?
Yeah, when we were in like the dead heat of it, I went home and, you know, joined a lot of the protests, and I was at her balloon release at City Hall where they said goodbye to her and everybody let the balloons go. I met her family, so I tried to entrench myself in it. You know what I mean? I tried to really feel it as opposed to, you know, sometimes I think social media numbs you. And we can care about things, we can repost it, but you see so much that nothing is really, you just like this, blank face. And something might even bother you a little bit, you just blank face. So we're numb to everything. So I thought going home and really being there would make me feel something. And it turned out I was right. It was a powerful sense of unity, and it was crazy that, you know, for a moment, it was all centered on Louisville, Kentucky, like the Breonna thing, and it still is. You know, there's still justice that's necessary.
Yeah, man.
But no, it was a powerful
why was it important for you to go home and, as opposed to, you know, not look at it on Instagram, not, you know, not pay attention to it, or say, you know what, I'm not there right now. You know what I'm saying? Why was it important for you to go back and put yourself right there?
It felt like something different. This movement has felt like something different. You know, over the last 10 years, at least since I've been a conscious human, there's been there've been a lot of moments. There's been a lot of Black Lives Matter moments, and, you know, we're fed up with this. But this one felt like history. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it felt like I need to involve myself. I felt the obligation just as a human being, and especially as a white man in a Black genre. I felt like it's necessary. So it was a no-brainer. I got home.
Jack Harlow, man, what's the so-called next move for you, bro? Like I say, you live in a dream right now. You know, what's that next thing for you?
I really want to drop a body of work that is instant classic. I want to put out something that makes people say, oh, he's here to stay, and that it's understood. So for the first time, I'm really focused on a cohesive body of work. I've dropped a lot of mixtapes, but all the mixtapes have kind of just been clusters of, these are the best 13 songs I made in the last year. It's something different when you get to the album, and this is going to be my first album, so I'm really focused on delivering something good. I don't want to just give them 13, here's 13 hot songs. No, I want to deliver a message, and I'm excited about that. It's a challenge.
Hey, man, is it crazy with the mixtapes or all the work that you put in, or how people look at you and they do respect what you do, that we also talking about your first album?
Sort of. I never wanted my mixtapes to be called albums, though, because I always knew there was this care I'm taking right now missing. So I'm happy that it's debut album time. So I was always the one that was saying, these are mixtapes, these are mixtapes, these are mixtapes. Because now I'm approaching this totally different.
And when you say approaching it totally different, what's your timeline when you talk about the album?
Like when it might drop?
Yeah.
Man, undetermined.
Yeah.
Undetermined.
Yeah.
I'm in the throes of it. I'm in the middle of it right now. So I don't want to put a clock on myself.
Yeah, and especially, man, if we're looking for instant classic, you know what I'm saying? That takes time. And then you got to think just from the catalog that you're given. If you're saying that I'm coming with something that's either better than or just as good as what I've given you already, then yeah, classics, those definitely, you definitely want to take your time with that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Better than, for sure.
Hey, man, will there be a What's Poppin' Justin Bieber remix?
Not released officially, but I heard out where you're at, they're playing it on the radio anyway.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see Justin Bieber jump on either social media or you go past his radar enough where he jumps on and do his own freestyle, what does that say for you or about you?
You know, it's special, man. I grew up with this icon. You know what I mean? I was in middle school and this dude emerged out of nowhere and took over. So I feel special. I feel a special connection to it. It's definitely another bucket list moment that's surreal. I was on the phone with him the other day and we were talking about it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is wild.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. And I know at one point, man, you were talking about your dream collab was Pharrell.
Mm-hmm.
And that collab has happened.
It has.
Now, what's the next? You know how you say, man, these are graduation. These are like them steps. You know what I'm saying? So, and Pharrell is another person, Jack Harlow, that, you know, you working with people that pick and choose who they want to work with. You know what I'm saying? You don't chokehold Lil Wayne to work with somebody. Tory Lanez, you know what I'm saying? That dude is in his own, you know, in his own world, and he mess with who he want to mess with. And the same with the baby. We talking about people that's hot as fish grease. You know what I'm saying? And Pharrell is another one of those people that you don't work with Pharrell unless Pharrell want to work with you.
Correct.
What was that relationship like, man, and how does that first go down?
You know, Pharrell's one of the only people that you see him in the music videos throughout the 2000s. You see the image he's projected. He's one of the only people I met that his real life in the room aura matched that completely. He is a cool cat, bro. He's cool as hell. So that was one of the, I mean, as soon as he came in, I just felt relaxed. I'm like, oh yeah, this is him. This is Skateboard P. So he was relaxed, like I said, and he was cool and friendly. And he was a listener. That's what I liked about him, you know. I love people that, you know, want to listen and hear you. You know, not that I talked his ear off, but he definitely didn't talk my ear off. He was curious. He said, yo, play me some of the new stuff you're working on. Let's talk about it. And I felt like he was absorbing as opposed to, let me teach you something, youngin'. You know what I mean? He was collaborative, so I enjoyed him.
And I know that you did some work recently with Logic as well, man, for, I guess, titled No Pressure as far as album-wise. But do you feel like when he said that he's announcing a retirement, man, do you feel like you jumped on at the right time? And Logic is another artist, bro, that I feel like is so slept on. And such a beautiful human being, bro. Like I've had more conversations with Logic off air than I've had on air, just on life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how does that come together for you and Logic to actually work together?
Well, you know what's funny is the conversations that y'all have. That's really what we did. Me and Logic didn't do a record on this album.
Yeah.
He has a record that is gonna be on the album that he wanted to play me, and he said I had some influence on, which was very dope for me to hear. It's on his last album. It was fire. And I remember when Logic came out, I was another middle school moment. I remember Logic coming out. So it's all these full circle moments that feel too good to be true. But yeah, I was in LA and Logic invited me to his house, and we just sat and talked for a few hours, and he told me he liked what I was doing and that I was inspiring him to want to rap. So I agree with your analysis. Hell of a human being. Great guy.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, is there also a pressure to being, you know, Jack Harlow when there are the heavyweights that do kind of co-sign you? You working, you living the dream. Is that also a pressure as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel like, I don't know. I have people in my life, in my inner circle, that think I could be the biggest artist in the world. And they think that genuinely. I'm talking about some of the people that signed me. And they verbalize these things to me. And when I hear that, the validation is powerful. But there's another part that feels like, well, I better get on my job. I better go, because if they see that in me, that's something I see in myself. But when you hear it from other people that opinion you respect, you're like, maybe it's true. Maybe I could really be that. So it makes you want to go. I definitely am hungry right now. You know, I'm thrilled to have my first hit, and I'm thrilled what it's doing for my life. But my mind is months ahead. Right. I'm thinking that I want the next one.
The key word is when you said first. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the key word, bro. It's saying first and first of many. You know what I'm saying? But man, I thank you for your time and coming into the neighborhood, man, and giving us a lot of insight with you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
And the next time we get down, man, God willing, we'll be in the neighborhood together and actually talking. You know what I'm saying? But keep yourself safe, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. Thank you. This is one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. And not just because it's Big Boy, that's legendary on its own, but I really enjoyed the conversation. So thank you.
Man, no, thank you for conversating too, man, because, you know, we think we know, you know what I'm saying? And when I talk to someone, man, I just get so intrigued, you know, when it comes to just life and the life story. You know what I'm saying? We can sit up and talk about collaborations in music, but there's also texture right there. And I've been in, you know, I remember everybody walking in pretty much their first time. You know what I'm saying? I remember my first interview with Eminem when he walked in. I remember my first interview with Jay-Z. I remember my first interview with Tupac, like Biggie. I remember all these first interviews, and then you see, and you're like, okay, well, damn, Thug, whoever it may be, man. So I'm always intrigued by what's next, and I'm always a fan of what's next. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what keep me in the game too, man, is recognizing who these next great champs are. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people that you call icons, I remember them, you know, being rookies. You know what I'm saying? So I it's crazy when you see where somebody's going, bro. And Jack Harlow, I've seen this before. You know what I'm saying? Have fun, respect your craft. I know that you're a student of the game, man, and at some point, you know, the student becomes the teacher, you know, but you're always learning even when you're the teacher. But I've seen this before, bro, and I wish you nothing but the best, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, bro.
Easy call. Brother Jack Harlow in the neighborhood, man. Y'all stick around. Y'all radio's Big Boy's Neighborhood.